welcome to another episode of Common Sense Co-Parenting. I am Dr. Jerry Johnson. My mission is to empower parents to navigate the complexities of co-parenting with clarity, compassion, and collaboration. This ensures a nurturing environment that centers on the well-being of the child above all else. So today I'm going to bring to you another guest. Last two episodes I had my daughter. And I told you guys that I was going to start having guests on the show because there are certain topics that we need to continue to talk about after I have set the foundation for the 5 characteristics of common sense co parenting. Let's review really quickly before we get to my guest. Remember that our 5 characteristics are collaboration, confrontation, communication, cadence, and do you remember, Frank? Do you know? No? Do
Consistency.
you know? Consistency. I just did that to him on that's on the whim, y'all. But he actually listens. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So today we're going to talk about kind of all of those. And the last two episodes, we talked about co parenting from the child's view. So, for this episode, we're going to talk about co parenting actually from a lot of different perspectives. Frank's story is a little bit interesting, so I'm going to let him get into it in just a second. But the main thing I want you to kind of focus on is with this episode is actually the journey that has taken place during this co-parenting relationship because it's not one that is uncommon to a lot of people. So I want you to pay attention very closely to the things that we talk about in these next two episodes because he will be on the next episode as well. Um, and if anything hits home for you, please leave a comment in the comment section below the video. If you have any questions or anything like that, I can definitely send those to Frank if you have questions for him, or he can hop onto the channel and respond to you guys. But let me know what you think. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you really like this episode, and continue to rock with us. Okay. All right. So, Frank, will you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, so like I said, my name is Frank Logan, a lifelong educator, constant parent improvement person at this point in my life, of not being selfish, um, or just being a little narcissistic, I would say, too, early on. Um, yeah, that's just it. More so educated and learning how to be a parent. The
All right.
way that's the
So
difference.
Frank has started off transparent already. So go ahead and give us a little tidbit about your co-parenting journey thus far, Frank.
So I will say this: it is still an ongoing process of being a parent to now young, really two young adults, but one being a teenager that's about to be 18, and one that's she's gonna be mad at me. 21. She's 20, yeah, she's 21. So now navigating missed years, lack of communication, more from me from one side. But on another note, with her, we'll get into that later about communication,
Mhm.
but also just learning how to put children first and their needs and understanding the needs, even when the co-parenting situation was not ideal. And even though if there's even a thing like the ideal or the perfect expectation of it. So
Yeah, and I mean I think that's very important to bring up because I say all the time that your co-parenting relationship is your co-parenting relationship. It's just like any other relationship or marriage. You know, you can look at other people and stuff and you can say couple goals and all this stuff. We could say co-parenting relationship goals or whatever, But looking at somebody's relationship on the outside is totally different because they could be living in hell on the inside. Like
Mm.
honestly. So things can look great on the outside. We see it every day. The optics look good,
Yeah,
but on the inside and behind closed doors, we don't know what's going on. Really,
right.
we don't. And so there is no, the ideal co parenting relationship to me is whatever you and the co parent or co parents decide for that to be. Like what is going to be best for your child or the children is what your ideal relationship should be. And that's why I stepped through the 5 characteristics and gave people some things that they can do, some tools. And I'm going to come with some more tools that people can use to kind of like organize themselves in their brain about what do I want this co-parenting relationship to look like? Do I want it to be parallel? Do I want it to be, I definitely don't want it to be conflicted all the time, right? I want it to be cooperative and to be flowing and everybody be in a good space,
Yeah.
right? So, so in your co-parenting journey, like you just said that there was some lack of communication at one point in time, but you also had kind of like a growth process through that with yourself.
Mhm.
Can you explain that a little bit?
So it was more so like a whole and entire lifestyle change of one putting taking self out, but putting what needs to be in for self, um, and lack of communication with mainly the child because so I was of the mindset early on, like as long as I have contact with my child, I don't need to talk to his mother, her mother. I don't need that. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing that you might not like each other, y'all might not be able to stand each other, period. You still have to come to some common ground of some kind of communication, especially being in different states.
Yes.
And it's different now that they're older, but them in those small elementary years, adolescent ages,
Mm-hmm.
that was the part that I messed up on of again being selfish, but also really just not caring. Like I don't care about that. I'm paying child support. I got the insurance. I'm making my court dates, making sure that everything is right, and thinking that that's the whole thing. But not understanding how mentally it affects not only the child, children, but the other parent as well. Now, that part was probably the biggest thing that I had to take out of my mind of not caring about. Because at the end of the day, it's still my child's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we might not get along, which is totally opposite of us having an offspring, we have to be cordial enough to be parents and be the right type of parents for the children. So it's it's been a tough ongoing journey. I'll say that. Some days it's
Mm-hmm.
tougher than others. It's almost like being a drug addict, I think, because some days you just be like you just want to go back to how you were.
Withdrawal. Yes.
And then,
Yeah.
but then it's like no, and then it's like especially being in your 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Now you like to say you have more time behind you than you do in front of you. I actually feel that way, but I want to make, even though I can't make up for lost years, damn it, I'll be able to provide a stable relationship going forward into adulthood with them. Even though I missed those years, adulthood is just as important as the adolescent years because now
Yes.
being an adult, not having parents that paying everything for you. Now you have to pay for everything else. Now we'll be able to navigate that part about it. And will we probably have that type of relationship? Yeah, maybe. But also at the end of the day, I'm still gonna be me. I will give you what you need over what you want any day. And I'm
Right.
all about need based is what I'm about now. So
Yeah. So that old, I tell people all the time, and you've heard me say this, the old me be beefing with the new me
all the
on a
time.
daily basis, like for real. So
All the time.
I understand the withdrawal and wanting to go back to reacting, wanting to go back to popping off, wanting to go back to just shutting down, and not doing anything versus having to interact with that parent.
Yeah.
So I get that. So can you give them a little bit of idea, the audience a little bit of idea of how long you were not like actively in your kids' lives, and then what that feels like for you now to be active?
Oof. It was pushing right at a decade. So like my daughter, I didn't find out about her until she was already 6, going on 7 years on Earth. So that I had a little bit of hatred in my heart, um, because she was expecting me to be the one to drop everything and come, but I wasn't told that I had a child. And
Mm,
I was like, I'm not doing that because you did not tell me this. You springing this on me now. You just want me to be all gung ho and come. I'm not doing that. How about this? How about you bring her around us since we did not know this? So
right.
that part kept me away probably until high school years, um, with her. And then with my son, that was just me being immature from the last situation. Everybody's out to get Frank. Everybody's out to get Frank. Frank, they trying to trap Frank. They just want money. And that lasts for about 4 or 5 years. And me and my brother had a conversation, which is weird because I'm always the one having the conversation with him. But we had a conversation, and also being having children but not being married was kind of a disappointing thing to me, of me worried about what other people thought, and then
Mm,
didn't want to be a disappointment. Like, idiot, you are, first off, you're already working. You're college educated. That other personal life, people they're gonna say what they want to say anyway. But I think that conversation with him, but also getting to the maturity stage of going through actual trials and tribulations not associated with co-parenting, it 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 matured me unwillingly, but also it made me start seeing what the bigger picture was, but also what is important.
mm,
And whereas we're developing that relationship is still not as strong that I think that it could be if I was there all the time. It's getting to it's getting to that point to where, okay, now sometimes they'll call if they just want to talk, but if they really need some advice, or if they just need to talk, period, that's where we are getting to.
that's cool.
But also having familial support also helps, because those
Yeah.
are the ones that you don't want to disappoint in the beginning. But now just having that support of, okay, I know I have somebody to hold my back up just in case. Because, and I always say, once I express and humble myself, whatever anybody has to say, I do not care. Because even though it used to be hard to humble myself, now I don't have a problem just with that brutal, hardcore honesty, no matter how
Yeah.
it comes out. And that's with parents, siblings, work, children, nieces, nephews, all of that. I have no, just saying it because, one, I'm not finna sit on it if I got something to say. And for a long time, when people were talking about deadbeat dads and all that, I was like, okay. That got to the point where I was like, you know what? Yes, I was a damn deadbeat. But they always talk about men not doing nothing. But hell, this man that's in the house with their children, they still don't do nothing.
Still don't do nothing. Hello.
So I had to get out that point of the social media age of what is a man. I
Oh my God. Here we go.
I'm just saying.
Here we go.
And that's why I don't watch a lot of the social media stuff because a lot of people take stuff from unhappy people on social media who claim to be the experts at this stuff. And I look at a lot of things and be like, no, I can't take that. Nope, not watching that, not doing this. I'm gonna go to the source and ask the source, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do? I'm not gonna rely on somebody that's just doing this stuff for clicks. And I have access to the person that I'm directly impacting.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now that part I will show that part of how did I and how am I still negatively impacting you, positively impacting you, but also how can we get past this and move in a different direction?
And that's hard for a lot of people. Like that is difficult for a lot of people. I mean, it like you said, it took you time to move past and through those stages. And I think people think that it's just gonna naturally happen because at one point in time, y'all, I've said this before. At one point in time, you love this person enough, cared about this person enough to, and then ended up having a child by this person.
Yep.
What happened the minute the child came? Like, where did all that love and this my soulmate and this my person and all that? What happened after that?
Okay.
I'm
Now one
just saying, I get it all spew out
okay. One of them was not no love. That was just me being young, dumb, and full of the other stuff.
at once.
So it was never even like that. So it made it easier to be a jerk. I'll say that.
Yeah, because the feelings weren't there in the
It
first
wasn't there
place.
in the beginning. It was just casual.
Yeah. Here we go with that casual dating and
It wasn't
situationship.
even casual dating.
So it was situationship.
It wasn't no situation shit. It was just screwing shit.
And see what can happen.
I didn't know see what can happen, see what did happen. And see what
We
did
gotta
happen.
discipline ourselves, y'all. We gotta discipline ourselves. But no, I mean it really is it's important for us to look back at what that relationship was with that person. And before you lay down with somebody, I know it's difficult. Think about what if something does happen and this person gets pregnant or this person decides that they want to have the baby, even though in my mind I'm saying no, she's not gonna have a baby. You know, like you can't determine what happens next once you do something. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a bow and arrow, right? Like you pull it back, you let it go. You can't control where it goes. So we need to think about these things before we lay down with somebody, but we're going to talk about after.
Yeah.
so,
Oh, it was
so
a lot going through my mind at that point.
I mean, I get, and it also wasn't a lot going through your mind.
Right. It was it was very cloudy, let's say that. It was very, very, very cloudy.
So even though you lost some years,
Mm-hmm.
you still came to a conclusion that what's best for your children, even though they're younger, going to be young adults, and they are young adults at this point in time, it still is a good thing for you to be in their life.
Yeah.
because you are their father or dad, whichever one people want to call it.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't get.
and you're a parent.
Yeah.
You're a parent,
Right.
okay? So that they know they have that parental support, regardless if they are older or not. Okay. So what has been what do you think has been kind of like your biggest lesson throughout this this journey of yours? And how do this two-part question. You can answer it in any way.
Yeah.
How do your children's mothers react to the co-parenting relationship now? And then what do you think is your biggest lesson?
You know what? I would have to ask them that, because like we still don't talk a lot. Um,
Okay.
Now when we see each other, we talk about a lot of different things. It's very cordial. I would still say they probably want to wring my neck though. Um, and that's just based off of just being years and years of me being the one, because I can say this, even though I felt the way that I felt, the kids were always taken care of. I cannot and will not let anybody say that they're not good mothers. Period.
Okay. Okay.
Can't deny that one bit.
Good.
I always did it. I could have, should have, not could have. I should have reached out more, made myself more available. And then it goes back. I forgot to say this earlier. It goes back to that stupid, just stupid. Now that I think about it, well, when they get teenager stuff, when they basically can do they can tell you how they feel. That's when I going to be a daddy, pretty much. That's kind of what it was. It's about like 85%. When they become teenagers, they be able to talk to me. I don't have to talk to my mama. I can be daddy for real. Just thinking about it now, that is stupid, right? Like it's just
It's not. This is my thing. This is
it's
my thing,
stupid,
and I'm
but
going
that's
to
a real
compare.
thing.
No, but it is a real thing, and I'm going to compare it to what Nelly said to Ashanti on his video about when the child can walk and talk. That's when I'm gonna basically take care of them. But you missed the whole attachment phase.
Yep.
There is an attachment phase when they are born. Babies have attachments to the people who take care of them, and those attachments stay with them for the rest of their life, or they don't stay with them for the rest of their life. It's just like a mother never picking up her child, and it's always the nanny. They
Hmm.
get attached to the nanny and not to the mother. If the father never picks up the child, they don't have an attachment. This is why people, and it's a book called Attachment Styles. This is why people get into relationships later on and they are either anxious or they're avoidant or what have. Their attachment style was determined between the years of 0 and 5 for
Yep.
the most part. Okay. It can modify, it can change as they go through different, people in their lives. But that is some real thinking that you had. Like that's a true mindset that a lot of people have.
It
Is that,
definitely.
oh, when they're self-sufficient, pretty much, then I'll come in and I'll do X, Y. Like what they need you for then. You miss all of the emotional attachment. You miss all of it. Like, what do they need you for then? Like, come on.
Right.
Like, love Nelly, love Cornell Haynes to death. But that was not that just was not a it's not a smart choice.
Yep.
It is not in the best interest of the child. Maybe it was in the best interest of you, but not in the best interest of the child.
And
Okay.
I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember me telling you that I was reading a book by Kate Murphy called "You're Not Listening"? What
Yes,
you listen, why it matters.
yes.
That was another thing that slapped me across the face. Was yeah, you have all this technology, easier access to your child, but if you're still not listening,
Don't
what's
matter.
what is the point?
Don't matter.
So
Exactly.
such an easy concept. I read it in a book of something that I should have known and or just done. Period.
That's that active listening piece that I talked about because set the phone down. When your child is talking to you, set the phone down. Look at them. Let them know that you are present with them at
Mhm.
that time while they're saying what they're saying. Dialogue with them a little bit. Go back and forth, even if it's just banter. You just want to be devil's advocate or whatever.
Yep.
Let them know that you are present and you are listening. Listening involves a whole lot more than hearing, you guys. I can hear a lot of stuff. I hear people outside right now. I hear people outside the door, my apartment. Like I can hear that and I'm still focused on what it is I'm doing. When I'm
Mhm.
listening to Frank talk, then I'm able to respond. I'm able to interact. I'm able to dialogue. And the person knows that you are paying attention to them. You're present with them. They don't just have your presence, your body there, you are actually present with them.
Yep.
Okay. So that is funny though.
And you know what? Another thing, being in education for so long, people always say, "I don't know how you do that, or how you get the worst kids to not do stuff that they would do with everybody else."
Right.
I said, I guess it's a hidden skill, but also it might be God and the devil showing me what I did miss out on of being a parent and overcompensating for not being that parent made me a very good educator. If that makes
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a lot of educators who they just love kids. Like even if they don't have kids, they love nurturing and being around kids. They love, just giving. And so anybody who's still in education today, I say, God bless you. Like K-12 education, because I know that you're right, you're there for the right reasons, and that's why I love supporting teachers and principals and district administrators because they are some of the most loving, like they will love on you. Some
yeah,
of the most loving people that you will ever meet. Now, some of them mean this, he double hockey stick, and some of them just shouldn't be there. But that's any profession. All
yeah,
professions
they,
have bad apples. All professions have bad apples. But a good majority of educators are there because of the kids,
mhm.
whether they have any or whether they don't, especially the ones who don't have kids who are still there teaching every day. They got to love them babies.
Yeah,
So, yes, I mean, and that might be the case because I tell you what, I didn't want to have kids because I was teaching them every day. And every day I thought about, oh my God, if I have to teach them every day and then I got to come home to them, am I going to have the energy for this? Like, and then when I had my daughter, it was like, no going back. Like, I got my baby. My ex-husband wanted a baby. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I mean, I totally understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. And what I'm gonna do right now, Frank, is we're gonna continue. We're gonna pick up this conversation
okay.
in our next episode because I think it's very important. And I love that you're here right now because I think men need to hear the fact that it's never too late.
Right.
Like, no matter what you did or what you didn't do, and how long it's been since you haven't seen your kids, even when they become young adults, they still want a relationship with you, especially if you have the right heart about it. you know, and you don't have to, like you said, necessarily have a whole conversation with the mom and be, you know, like best friend,
Right.
but you do need to be cordial because that's still their child that they raised as well. And now
Mhm.
you're coming into the fold and coming into the picture. There might be some feelings there. Sometimes people get jealous because they've been in their child's life the whole time. Sometimes people get angry or what have you. And those are conversations that you should be able to have right now, especially as the child is becoming an adult.
Mhm.
But we're going to pick up this conversation in the next episode. Is that okay with you? Okay, so I didn't want it to get too long for you. And guys, I didn't want it to get too long for you either. So we're going to pick up this conversation in the next episode with Frank. I want to thank him again for coming on the show. And once again, if you guys liked anything or anything hit home with you, please, please, please leave comments in the comment box at the bottom. And like and subscribe to the channel so that you know when the next episode comes out. Otherwise, I'm going to say what I always say. You guys go out and co parent with a purpose. I'll see you later. Bye.